938 Live gets you talking. It takes more than just an apple a day to keep the doctor away. Shape up with Body and Soul. 938 Live.
Welcome into Body and Soul on 938 Live. This is your daily health interview. I'm Daniel Martin. Thanks for joining me once again. I love keeping you company, and we love bringing you the most important news in terms of your health to you every single day, 3 to 5 p.m. Coming your way in today's edition, we're talking about the impact of vitamin E. We know that there's been a lot of research showing the benefits of vitamin E, everything from correction of our cell membranes, keeping your skin, your heart, your circulation, your nerves, and even your red blood cells healthy. But did you know that there are actually different forms of vitamin E? One of them is commonly used in supplements found in Singapore, but there's another form that's been referred to as the new super vitamin E of the new millennium. Tocotrienols is what I'm talking about, and researchers have been doing extensive research on it, showing that they have a positive effect on serious diseases such as cancer and cardiovascular disease. Today, I'm going to speak to Dr. Daniel Yap. He's the chief scientist from DavosLife Science. They've been doing extensive R&D on tocotrienols for consumer consumption. If you have any questions of your own, call in and ask them. 669-11938. Joining us live on the air, Dr. Daniel Yap, chief scientist from DavosLife Sciences. Dr. Yap, how are you? Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm great here.
I understand you're overseas for work and business right now?
Yes, actually, I'm traveling, talking about Tocotrienols to our customers in Indonesia.
Ah, fantastic. Well, I'm glad you could take the time out to speak with us. Let's talk about vitamin E first of all. What is vitamin E, and why is it proven to be so good for you?
I mean, vitamin E, during normal body metabolisms, our body generates a whole host of free radicals. And the imbalance of free radical actually affects your health. Over time, our body have actually developed a set of antioxidant web as a defense mechanism to actually maintain this balance. Vitamin E, as a strong antioxidant, actually done a good job in terms of maintaining the balance of free radicals and in a way maintain good health.
So essentially, a vitamin E is antioxidant in nature?
Yes. During the discovery phase, early phase, vitamin E is generally regarded as a good lipid antioxidant.
Why is it one of the the so-called better ones? Because we hear so much about different kinds of antioxidants. Green tea has antioxidants. Certain fruits and vegetables have antioxidants. But is vitamin E something that's particularly stronger or more potent, perhaps? Yeah,
I mean in terms of lipid-based antioxidant, we really do not have much options. Vitamin E has, apart from coenzyme Q10, has been a very potent lipid-based antioxidant. Green tea and the rest of the oxidants that we get from are actually water-based antioxidants.
Oh, what's the difference? What's a lipid-based one then?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of fats, our body fats are constantly subjected to lipid peroxidations that turns rancid. So in preventing the oxidations of fats, only the lipid-based antioxidant can achieve the mechanisms to actually maintain lipid health.
I see. So does that mean, Dr. Yap, that these kinds of antioxidants, lipid-based, and vitamin E and tocotrienols in particular, does that mean we're not getting enough of this in our natural diet?
In terms of our natural diet nowadays, if we are on a normal diet fortified with various types of vitamin E, I think we are in a safe side in terms of supplying sufficient amount of vitamin E in our diet. There's actually no deficiency if we are eating foods that are fortified with various forms of vitamin.
Okay, so that's good news. But how do we make sure that it's fortified with various sources of vitamin? That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In terms, the daily recommended dose is only 15 milligrams. So a lot of people, we may be thinking that we are actually absorbing vitamin E from our vegetable oil. But the vegetable oil that we normally use for our cooking, daily cooking, are actually stripped of vitamin E during refining process. So we can only get that from a fortified food.
Are there different types of vitamin E, Dr. Yap?
based on there are actually two main classes of vitamin E. What we normally consume or get from pharmacies are tocopherols, and there is actually a unsaturated form of vitamin E called tocotrienols.
And those are the two main classifications. Is there a particular difference between the two?
Yeah, I think in terms of abundance, these two, although are classified as vitamin E, have very different health benefits. Both are regarded as a strong antioxidant. The tocotrienols group of vitamin E are actually much more potent in terms of antioxidant activities. Apart from the antioxidant, tocotrienols possess a unique health benefit such as skin whitening effect, anti-cancer effect, as well as a anti-cholesterol effect.
So in that case, why is it that we see majority of our supplements having the other version, which is tocopherols, I believe you mentioned?
Yes, I mean, that is partly due to a historical reason, because tocopherols was discovered almost half a century earlier than tocotrienols. And at that time, soya bean being the main source of oil in refineries, and tocopherols found mainly in soybean oil, as a result, we regarded that as actually the main source of vitamin E. And also, the unique health benefit of tocotrienols was actually discovered much later in the 1980s. As a result of that, we mostly regard vitamin E as tocopherols.
So it's sometimes it really boils down to which came first, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Right, I see. So the precedence that has been set. So that's, the one that we're more comfortable, more familiar with, perhaps. But we've seen a lot of research come up about tocotrienols, and we're going to talk about that in just a bit as well with Dr. Daniel Yap, our guest. He's a chief scientist from DavosLife Science. They've been doing extensive R&D on this particular form of vitamin E. Dr. Yap, let's talk a little bit more about vitamin E. When majority of the average layperson thinks about it, I would think that we're more familiar with vitamin E in terms of skin health or something topical. We see it advertised for things like that. But it's much more than just skin health, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. I think that the most recent interesting discovery on tocotrienols, and as we compare tocotrienols to tocopherols, one of the major differences is in terms of preventing hyperpigmentation. So the application for that is skin whitening, because they, Asian ladies in general love skin whitening. So the whitening effect, as a result of UV radiations, is actually caused by an enzyme called tyrosinase. So tocotrienols have these unique properties of preventing this enzyme from being activated, thereby actually lowering the pigmentation effect. The tocopherol in our hand or in our experimental results does not have any of those skin whitening effect.
I see. So it's more linked to some of the other things that we'll be discussing. I understand it can be even, there's been some links in animal studies to anti-tumor effects, and even benefits for lowering triglyceride levels. That's fantastic. We'll find out more just ahead. But just to wrap up this discussion on part one, Dr. Yap, what has led to this intense interest in research on tocotrienols? Is it fairly new? Is there new evidence that has just arrived that makes it seem more appealing for research?
Yeah, I think the interest is mainly people are becoming aware that tocotrienol is actually not the same as we expect it to be, just like normal antioxidant vitamin E. And there are various results from a host of well-known universities showing how it actually has a unique impact on cancer cell, but not on normal cell. This is actually a very attractive result, because normal anti-cancer drugs actually target both cancer cells as well as normal cells. So what they have discovered, tocotrienols is able to identify and specifically target cancer cells. It's really a very interesting findings. And National Cancer Institute from US FDA have actually sponsored currently a human trial to use tocotrienols to treat cancer.
Dr. Yap, so we're seeing it used in medicinal trials and medical treatment even?
Yes, it is actually, there is currently a actively recruiting human trial in United States sponsored by NIH. To study using tocotrienols to treat pancreatic cancer.
Oh, that's fantastic. Hopefully some great results will come out of that. We're going to continue chatting with our guest today, Dr. Daniel Yap. He's the chief scientist from DavosLife Science, and they've been doing extensive research and development into tocotrienols, which are a form of vitamin E, shown to be effective for many aspects of your health, including anti-tumor properties and even lowering the triglyceride levels in your blood. We're going to find out more just ahead as we continue our discussion. I'm Daniel Martin. Stay with me on today's edition of Body and Soul right here on 938 Live.
Talking to a doctor a day keeps your illness away.
Welcome back into your health interview right here on Body and Soul on 938 Live. I'm Daniel Martin. It's a pleasure to be your healthy company once again. We're continuing our discussion on vitamin E's impact for your health. There are different types of vitamin E, and one in particular has been called the new super vitamin E of the new millennium. It's known as tocotrienols, and researchers have been doing extensive research on it, showing that it has a positive effect on serious diseases such as cancer and even cardiovascular disease. We're joined today by Dr. Daniel Yap. He's the chief scientist for DavosLife Science. They've been doing quite a bit of research and development on tocotrienols for consumer consumption, and we want to find out more about this particular form of vitamin E. Dr. Yap, thanks for staying with us on the phones with us live from Indonesia, where he's overseas for business right now. We've talked in the first part quite a bit about vitamin E as well. Remind our listeners, Dr. Yap, what exactly are tocotrienols and why are they so good?
Tocotrienols is actually good apart from their antioxidant properties of maintaining health and free radical balance. Actually have a unique properties when compared to conventional vitamin E tocopherols. Tocotrienols have skin whitening, lowering of triglycerides, as well as killing of cancer cells. And these are unique properties that differentiate itself from tocopherols. As a result of these, it is increasingly being called a super vitamin E.
Have there been any studies being emphasizing the fact that there's a vitamin E deficiency and we need to do something to boost these levels? Are we deficient in it?
I think in terms of tocopherols, nowadays they are cereals. Our daily foods are essentially fortified in terms of tocopherols. There are no deficiency on tocopherols, but in terms of tocotrienols, we do not actually get them normally from our food, because the type of oil, cooking oil from palm that we are using are essentially stripped of tocotrienols, so we do not really get them from our food. It is only from the supplement source.
How do we derive tocotrienols, Dr. Yap?
So in terms of the source of tocotrienols, it is mainly concentrated in the topical fruits, the seeds of the fruits, like palm oil, rice bran oil, and the rest, corn oil are essentially depleted. Olive oil are also depleted of tocotrienols.
So how we're going about seeing how are we going to see tocotrienols in the consumer market? Is it going to be in a supplement form? Is it going to be a part of enriched and fortified foods?
Yeah, I think in terms of that, nowadays we do see some tocotrienol supplement making inroad into the supplement market. We see some brands selling tocotrienols as a health supplement. And also worth mentioning is that, recently this year's American FDA has approved tocotrienols to be added in food as a supplement, as a food additive. So that, I believe, will fortify the food with tocotrienols.
For many people, when it comes to vitamins enrichment, they rely on their multivitamin, their daily multivitamin. Do we get tocotrienols in our daily multivites, or is it tocopherols?
Mainly tocopherols. I do not. I so far I have not come across with any multivite that contains tocotrienol in it.
I want to talk more about what the research has shown about the effects and benefits of tocotrienols, Dr. Yap. Studies in particular talk about its triglyceride lowering effect. How significant has this been?
I think this is a disease mainly associated with lipids. So very common disease in developed nations like Singapore, United States, and developed countries. We together with the Malaysian Palm Oil Board as well as a Tokyo Medical University have done a human clinical trial in Japan these are populations that are already